Hi, this is Abul Hussein coming to you live and direct from London, the United Kingdom. And today I have a very special guest who is joining me from Virginia in the USA. I think this is my first guest from the USA. I've done North America before, I've done Canada, and hopefully she will be the first of many more guests to join us from the United States of America. So she is going to talk to us about branding for small businesses. Now, before I introduce my guest, if you are watching this video outside of our social media marketing agency mastermind group, make sure to find the link and join in, especially if you are looking or you're growing an existing agency. So without further ado, Tracy Matherly, co-founder of Brainstorm Marketing Partners, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me today.
Thank you very much for joining me, because I know it's in the afternoon where you are. You're in Virginia, am I right?
Yes, it's 2 o'clock here. It's 2 in the afternoon.
It's 7 p.m. in London, so I think most people are closing up shop and kind of looking forward to their evenings. So tell us a bit about what you do as kind of your role in Brainstorm Marketing Partners.
Okay, well, I'm the co-owner of the company Brainstorm Marketing Partners. We are a full-service marketing agency located in Roanoke, Virginia. Like you said, we cater to small business owners, helping them achieve profitable growth through integrated marketing solutions. And some of our suites of services include graphic design, digital and social media, public relations, web development, content writing, and brand management. And right now, what we're doing is we're helping our clients overcome the challenges right now of selling their products and services due to the crisis situation. And we're making them feel at ease, knowing that there is someone that goes beyond the call of duty to help them with selling their products.
Perfect, because we have a global pandemic going on at the moment, if nobody has noticed, and businesses are being hit hard. You know, in the UK, there are large businesses that are going bankrupt at the moment. I'm sure it's a similar picture in the US, in Canada, all across the world. So, you know, what you're actually doing is helping businesses survive and hopefully thrive. You know, you are protecting jobs and protecting livelihoods. So in terms of the topic of branding for small businesses, how can a business that has been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic or is kind of on a bootstrap budget go out and re-emerge in a stronger position after, well, hopefully lockdown is over?
Well, it's branding for a small business is no different than any large organization. And what I found is small business owners either make the mistake or neglecting their brand, or they create bits and pieces of content and collateral. And when you view those small pieces, it's disoriented. It's all over the place. So and they view each part of that as part of their business and not necessarily part of their branding effort. So right now during the pandemic, those businesses, it would be wise to just look at your overall brand, reevaluate it and review it. When I work with clients, I often see small businesses spend more money on the back end of fixing mistakes of their brand instead of developing a brand strategy on the front end. For example, I worked recently with a small business owner who was getting limited traction for their brand. What we did is we conducted a brand audit, and we also looked at their brand inventory. And when we did that, it was apparent that all their touch points were totally disorganized. This includes their messaging, their look, their feel, their tone, and this also includes just the overall colors. But when you looked at the pieces of their collateral separately, you know, it looked great. But once we laid everything out and looked at everything as a whole, they had one of those aha moments where it was like, oh my God, this does not look right. This is not the way I want to be perceived in the marketplace. So that's why it's important to have a strategy in place, because this would never have happened if they would have had a strategy. So right now it would be wise for small business owners, especially now during the pandemic, to take that time and develop a brand strategy to be able to keep track of what they are doing. And it's a way to communicate with their customers more clearly in a more consistent way across all touch points. And it's also easier to maintain then your customer relationships and attract new ones.
Right. And, you know, when we talk about a brand, people have different ideas because they think it's a strap line, they think it's a logo, they think it's colors. And often people don't value the investment in a brand as they would in investing money in advertising or whatnot. I mean, how do you kind of overcome that kind of a limiting belief or a block amongst business owners who actually cannot see clearly the value of a brand or having a branding strategy?
Well, we basically do what I just said, do like a show them the bits and pieces, show them as a whole that it doesn't look right, the visual. Let them see visually, hey, you've created an ad here, or you created a digital marketing piece here. Is your messaging the same across all borders? Does your color look the same? Are you presenting your logo in each individual piece the same way? Because what will happen in the end is that you will confuse your audience. You'll confuse the people that you are trying to attract. And also with small business owners, they need to understand that branding is just as important as the operations of their business. It's a statistical fact that you have 7 seconds to make that first impression, and it's all about consumer perception, and that's what's really critical. So small business owners need to make every second count. They need to realize that branding is what identifies their goods and services. It's what differentiates them from their competition. It's essential for their business as to be able to have customers or potential customers to be able to make that brand association and be able to tell your story in a compelling way. As small business owners, as a small business owner, you need to ask yourself the 5 whys to formulate your brand. And one of those is, what value am I bringing to them? In other words, why do people want to do business with me? What makes your business unique? Why do you do what you do better than anybody else? And of course, that question of why should your customers care? Why should your audience care? And why do they learn? How they want to learn more from you, where they go, how they receive your information. That's important as well. So you need to get into your customers' minds, and you need to put yourself into their shoes and understand what motivates them, what's their frustrations, and how you're going to solve their pain points.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very kind of a detailed breakdown there. Now, a lot of people who will be watching this will be business owners, and they haven't really thought about their brand at all. They might have a logo that they got designed from one of those online websites. They might have a Facebook page. What do you think are the core components of a brand that works and is aligned well together?
I would say that part of your brand strategy, part of your brand identity should include your brand personality, your brand promise, your company's beliefs, your company's missions. It's not just your logo, it's not just your colors, and it's not just your fonts. So I think that there's a big disconnection when people think of brand and that they just think, okay, it's just the look and the feel, but it's more than that. It's how you're going to go to market with your messaging. And that is also part of your brand. It's also your employees. If you have employees of your company, their buy-in, their beliefs, how are they going to sell your brand to your customers? Is it consistent Is it disjointed? Is people saying different things about what you do at your company? Because that's also a problem too, which will confuse the marketplace. So it's basically, you need to, as a small business owner, set yourself apart from the competition and find that from the sea of other people that are trying to sell the same products and services. So, and it's about you showing your customers who you are and what they can expect from you when doing business with you.
No, that makes total sense. A lot of people wonder about ROI. So do you have like any case studies where you have actually taken someone who was totally uninitiated and you've been able to kind of deliver some immediate impact within the first 30, 60 or 90 days by getting everything aligned, by working on their tone of voice, by working on their brand identity and their messaging? When someone starts working with a kind of a strategist like you, how quickly can they expect to see some sort of results?
It's not a quick fix. It's a long-term process. When your branding is disjointed, it's a long-term process. Unless you start and do that strategy from the get-go, and you have a baseline, then you could see the ROI. But other than that, you can't initially see it. It's not a short-term goal. It's a long-term goal, because there's many pieces of the puzzle. Again, like I said, a lot of small business owners look at each individual touch point as a separate entity, and it's not. It's the whole picture. So when you've got a client who's so disjointed and you're having to fix everything, it's not an immediacy, unfortunately.
No, absolutely. And I think it's quite important that people understand that this is something that you're going to have to work on. You're not going to go to the gym and get 6 packs in day one. You have to work at it for 12 weeks or something like that. I can see you're quite passionate about branding and helping businesses kind of, to really evolve and embrace their branding and grow from it as well. I mean, how did you get into this the space yourself?
Okay, well, it's kind of interesting. I started off as a graphic designer, and then I kind of took a turn and decided to go into the legal field, because this was during 9/11. So, and I'm originally from the New York, New Jersey area, so right off the George Washington Bridge. So when 9/11 happened, I was working on the Jersey side and could see the towers, and it was very emotional at that time.
Yeah.
But what happened was a lot of magazines started to close, and I felt my job was a little bit in jeopardy at the time. So I decided to switch careers entirely. And what happened was what I was doing, I was in the legal field at the time, and it wasn't my passion. It's not what I wanted to do. So I decided I'm not going to do that anymore, and I left it, and I worked for an eyeglass manufacturer called Essilor. And I'm not sure, I mean, there's commercials everywhere, and for them, and I did their marketing, and I just became so passionate by it and loved it, because I already had that creative inspiration already, having my undergrad as a graphic designer. So I did that for some time, and then I left and I moved down to South Carolina, and I decided to do marketing for an IT firm down there. And then I worked for a steam system distributor, steam system manufacturer called Spirix Sarco, and that's how I got into more into the branding side. It was just such a passion for me, and I loved it. And then from there, I moved up to Virginia and started Brainstorm Marketing Partners. And the reason for that I wanted to start my agency was because working in the public sector, I found that there was a gap, and there was a gap for small business owners who wanted to get the same exact services that a large organization could get, but they didn't have the funds to do so. And therefore, they couldn't hire these large agencies that give the professional look and feel of everything, and they were kind of pigeonholed, having to just use freelance designers or do it themselves. And I saw an immediate gap there and thought, okay, well, I can fulfill that gap with my expertise.
Right. Okay. That's quite a journey. You know, going from a graphic designer to be a lawyer, and now you are.
Well, I wasn't a lawyer. I worked
Right.
for lawyers, but it was
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, close enough. Close enough. I mean, so a lot of small business owners, you know, they'll hear you speaking here, and I know you do a couple of other local events as well. Will be, you know, listening to you speak, and they'll be like, well, I don't think I have a brand problem. What would you say are the common symptoms of having a brand issue that needs to be rectified? When do people realize they have a brand issue?
Well, just to give you an example of another client, I was doing a discovery call with them, and you know, we were talking, and we were just talking about their website, for example, and she says to me, I said to her, where's your logo? Like, what's your logo? And she said, oh, because I was looking at that in her Facebook account. And I'm like, oh, this Facebook account has a logo on it. Is that your logo? And then I looked at the website, I'm like, wait a minute, there's another logo. It's different. Is that your logo? So if I'm being confused, I'm sure their customers are getting confused too. So I'm sure when they're hearing those types of things from other people, that's when I think they're like, if I look like two separate entities and I look at like two separate companies, no, I'm not going to get the trust of my audience. And that's really important, is to gain credibility and trust with your customers, so your customers can get familiar with your brand, and it will show authenticity. And if there's confusion like that, just from a simple logo, I think that's when they can see it. Right.
And I know you're running some sort of full service agency, so are you kind of doing advertising as well, or do you advise on advertising? What kind of other complementary services are you providing for your clients to kind of give them that holistic approach?
Well, we provide, I told you, website development. We do website evaluations. We do website audits. And we also do graphic design. We do the logos, and we do flyers and anything that somebody needs to build their brand identity. And we also do advertising. We do advertorials, and we do case studies, and we also do technical writing. Coming from the manufacturing space, I know that is also a huge gap in the market too, is technical writing. You know, anyone can be a copywriter, but writing technical pieces is a huge difference. There's a total difference in the way you approach the writing style. So we do that too as well. We do technical manuals for the manufacturing industry. So there is a lot we do. And
you're a one-stop shop for everything. Correct. Rather than getting a logo there, a website there, someone else is writing the copy, and they all mishmash everything together, and you kind of do a hacksaw job in putting all of that together.
And the other thing is that we are different in a lot of agencies where we like to sit there and educate each one of our clients. We don't just do the work, we sit there, they're part of the approach. Every step of the process they're involved with, so they feel like they've contributed to the overall look of what they're purchasing, and they feel a sense of ownership.
Now, you've been very generous with your time, so it's time to kind of wrap it up, because I know you're a busy mother as well. If someone wants to reach out to you and they want to kind of find out a bit more about how you can potentially help them, what's the best way to contact you?
They can go to our website at brainstormmarketingpartners.com. and they can fill out a consultation form for a discovery meeting, and we'd be happy to talk to them.
Brilliant. Well, Tracy, thank you very much for your time. Hopefully when the pandemic is over and people businesses start opening up again, we're going to see a lot of people who are going to become emerging with your help, and it'll be great to kind of catch up again in a couple of months and showcase some of the other people that you have helped in this period. So thank you for joining us, and I will catch up with you very soon.
And thank you for having me.
You're welcome.